Well, Year 2, I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you managed to get out and exercise and do some things with your family. It's Monday, the 30th of March 2020, and it's our last science lesson today, and we'll be looking at dependency and food chains. Okay, dependency. Dependency is when one thing relies on another. So in our habitat, there are often cases where one animal will rely on another animal. Sometimes it might be for food. Sometimes it might be for other reasons. Think like a scientist. What do you need to stay alive? We need food, water, air, shelter, and perhaps we also need to learn different things so that when we're older, we can actually get a job, be able to count in a supermarket, all these different things that we need to survive in our habitat. What do your parents provide for you? What does the school? What do other people or adults in your life provide for you? Are you dependent on them? Okay, so living things all need to depend on each other to survive in their habitat. Squirrels and oak trees are part of a woodland habitat. Why do you think the squirrel may need the oak tree to stay alive? Remember about Mrs. Gren and the life processes. What we need in our habitat are things that make us survive. So we need to be able to move, we need to be able to breathe, we need to be able to be sensitive to the things that are happening around us. We need to be able to have space to grow. We need to be able to have other things there we can reproduce with. We also need to be able to excrete, and we also need nutrition. So if we have a look at the squirrel, it gets a lot of these things from the oak tree. It gets a place to shelter. It's also a place where it can hide from foxes and hide from other prey that it's very sensitive to. And if we think about nutrition, well, these little squirrels, they love acorns. So if you remember the Arctic video, when you looked at the Arctic habitat, you were introduced to animals like the polar bear or the Arctic rabbit or the Arctic fox. If we have a look, they've adapted quite well to their surroundings, but they also rely on each other for food. There's nothing better than an Arctic fox would like than an Arctic rabbit. This brings us nicely to food chains. Remember, we have spoken about some animals eat other animals to survive. So Mrs. Gren, if we think about Mrs. Gren, its nutrition is all about food. All living things need food to survive. Remember green plants, they make their own food by using sunlight and water and air. Food gives living things energy, which is what they need to carry out other life's processes like moving or growing. Animals aren't able to make their own food, so they either eat plants or animals. Some animals get their food from eating plants. We call that herbivore. I say herbivore. You say a little bit louder. Right. Some animals, well, they don't eat plants at all. They only eat other animals. These are known as carnivores. Again, let's say it. Carnivores. Okay, so some animals, they eat plants and other animals. They are known as omnivores. I say omnivore. You say, can I hear you? Yeah, that's better. Brilliant. Okay, so these are some animals that actually eat both plants and animals. What type of animal are you? So a food chain starts with green plants. The green plants are called producers because they produce their own food. which simply means they make their own food. All animals are called consumers. Like when we go shopping, basically we consume things, we buy things, we take things, because we eat all the food by eating plants and other animals. Animals that eat other animals are called predators. So if you think about your cat, if it brings in a little mice or if it brings in a bird, they are the prey. They are what other animals eat. And the predators, well, they are the ones that eat those animals. So year 2, now it's your turn. Have a look at the BBC bite-sized video. I want you to complete a food chain. Remember, the bottom of the food chain is the producers. Then you have the prey, and then you have the predators. If you have a look at class charts, there are lots of activities you can print out there. If you need your logon, make sure that you email year2@grangeharrow.school.uk. I would also like you to make a fact file. So think about what you need to make your fact file. You'll need a heading. So your title could be Whales in their habitats. You'll also need a picture. If you have a look, you can draw a picture, you can cut out a picture. You'll also need subheadings. So think about what you're going to write in your fact file, what they look like. That could be your first subheading. Remember, because it is a heading, I would like you to underline it. Also, another heading could be what they eat. Another one, how they survive at different temperatures. So think about all the different things that you have learned about your animal. What colour is it? Why is that colour? What does it depend on to survive? I hope you've enjoyed our habitat lessons. Tomorrow we'll be looking at climate and climate change.